I'm excited actually. This is gonna be a really good show. Hopefully sustain a nice show that people can get a lot of value from and get a lot of content and good information that can help them. And when I say help them, I mean the grassroots goalkeepers, people that we serve at the grassroots level. We're not with any club teams, college teams, pro teams. We have to build everything from the ground up. Everything is work, everything is merit. That's what makes our journey so beautiful. With that journey comes lots of challenges, lots of ideas, lots of opinions, lots of things that most other environments probably don't have to deal with, but we do. How do I get the message out to some of my parents who are learning for the first time, who are going through this maze, who are constantly being bombarded with new trends and new social media and new this, new that, the shiny object syndrome? How do I help them? This is how I'll help you. Stay tuned. Thanks for checking in. This is Coach Gabe. Today is an interesting topic I want to discuss when it comes to goalkeepers in competition. We battle so much getting our mental strengthening. We battle so much going through the test of getting ourselves to a high level of skill, doing the extra trainings, feeling the isolation, going through all these hoops to get to a level of ability where now we are contending. And then when we start to get to this level of contending, now we meet another goalkeeper who's of similar character and stature and of similar skill levels. Maybe more, maybe less, or maybe somewhere in the middle right with you, right? Now, how do we understand this competition? And we'll talk more about when we should start competing at a different clip, because that is also, that could take an entire episode about when we should start competing, because there's different ideas from different people as to when that starts. So let's talk more about competition in general. I've seen it, I faced it myself. I see it amongst young students, and competition is something you should not be afraid of. Competition should provide you with an understanding that you're not alone. You're not the person that can only do this. There's other people out there. That is the reality of things. At the higher levels, there are less people, but more ability in the people that are there, right? And the spots become less. There's less teams. There's less college teams, there's high school teams, professional teams. And so now there is an abundance of students or of goalkeepers who are there to get their minutes, this is business. They are fighting for their minutes. They want to show that what they can do. They want to demonstrate their ability to perform under stress. And, you've been building yourself up all the way up to this, but I get a series of different students when it gets to that age, when it gets to a certain age, where now their focus has stopped shifting upon themselves and they start asking about others. What is that person doing? Who do they know? What are they up to? Now it's me. And it's like your focus. It's good to understand your competition, but that's all it is too. It's just an understanding as opposed to an idea of focusing, right? Understanding and focusing are completely separate situations. If you're just focused on what everybody else is up to, you lose track of your own thoughts, you lose track of your own ideas, of your own regiment, of your own patterns. And now you're just constantly focused. I mean, social media is one of those things too. You just start to mute everybody, take care of it, save yourself some stress. You don't want to just be focused on them because they're the show at that point. You give them the power of them being the show. And they aren't the show, you're the show. You're the show of your own show. Okay? You create your own narrative. You can create better strengths and you can analyze your weaknesses. You want to be able to make sure that when it's time for you to compete, that you're not stuck in a very, a dark place where, it's fear, it's insecurity. People are out there and they have things that they do, and you want to be able to continue progressing no matter what the circumstance is. That is that mental strength you've been building for many, many years. And now when somebody comes around or a group of people come around, you're feeling an inadequacy. Lots of top level goalkeepers welcome the competitive nature of things because they know There's going to be pain. There's going to be assessments of themselves. There's going to be observations. There's going to be criticism of themselves, and they know they're going to start hyper-analyzing a little bit more of their own self, and then putting that self-analyzation into work, right? That's how they know they're going to get better, because that pain provides the understanding, and that understanding goes to execution and work. A lot of people don't realize that's happening, but when you want to get to the higher level areas, soccer, football, it's a world game with world-class standards attached to it. I get it. We're over here in the United States, and there's things, and we're in California, which California is very competitive, but it's a world-class game with world-class standards. So, we want to have the most competitive environment possible all the time. You don't want to be afraid of that. You don't want to minimize the people around you so you can feel bigger. You want to have the strength, you want to have the endurance to understand when there's competition that you can outlast and outmaneuver. That's what you want to have. You don't want to minimize an environment so that you can feel grander than it. Welcome all of it. Starting an MLS academy, and it was an 11-year-old, and this was years ago. And, even at 11, the kid had a very strong mentality. Hey, youngster, listen, and look, mind you, I never created policy or not that like that. So, I was just telling him the realities of things. At any moment, somebody can come through the door. At any moment, somebody can come through the door. And if they're outperforming you, they will get the minutes. They will take positioning here. So that youngster had an understanding, and some would call that harsh. And I'm not sure if that's the age, right, to do all those things, but it was the reality in the moment. And who knows what the realities are now, but there was reality in the moment. And the reality was, he was very aware of the reality. And that youngster has now become somebody older who's not afraid of competition, because he's been dealing with it for so many years, and who's getting minutes, doing things at a very high level. And so we're very proud of him, by the way. But not everybody's built like that at 11 years old, and I'm completely understanding of that. And especially at the grassroots level, not everybody's, everybody, like they say, a bag of popcorn, right? You put it in the microwave, not all of it pops at the same exact time, right? So, we have to understand who's going to pop at what time. I mean, that is based on everybody's individual situation, right? So, it's one of those things that it's definitely important. I want to give and shine light to competition and how it could innovate and enhance certain things, right? If you see that there's a weakness, competition brings and shines light to that weakness, and now you can innovate around that situation and go to your environment and figure out, how do I overcome this situation? How do I, because competition is there, and maybe there's some things that they're better at or something like that. At the same time, I've seen a lot of kings in the game, queens in the game, who are the best. Not everybody lasts. You got to be tough. Tough people were built to last. They can be this, they can be that, they can be this, they can be that at this time, at this place. Can you last? Can you outlast the competition? That is huge. I have my own philosophy. You can be this, you can do that. You're not gonna outlast me. That is something we're building for. And that's something that a lot of my goalkeepers need to build for. You can outlast by staying in game, stay practicing, stay competing, okay? Stay getting feedback, stay executing on that feedback, right? Because there's a lot of kids out there that as soon as competition comes into the frame, they start to go into a shell, and they start to point fingers. They start to focus in different directions. They start to, really take in and feel very personal about the situation. And that's not where you want to be. That's in a place of insecurity. That's in a place of hyper analyzation of something else. We all seen that picture of Michael Phelps, who he's competing in the pool, and he's swimming until the finish line, and his competition is over there looking right at him. And that's why he lost, right? I mean, that's kind of that's an image we've all seen. And Michael Phelps is just focused on his lane. He's focused on his trajectory. So, we have to be similar in these moments, because when you're not focused on yourself, your competition is definitely getting the leg up on you. They're staying in their lane. They're mentally strong enough to understand that you are also competition to them, but they are staying grinding, right? And the way we grind and the way we grow is different. Some people accelerate much faster than others. Some people accelerate a little bit slower, but they're still growing. So you shouldn't think that's because somebody else is kind of in a season of growth, that because your growth isn't as fast that we're not growing. That is also a misconception in your mind and psychology. We have to understand that people grow. They're going to get better. So are we at the same exact time, you know. This is what I also see too. I see this as well. So they start to just completely shift what has gotten them so good, right? And I'm not sure if that's also great as well, right? You don't want to completely stop what you're up to that's gotten you good. Maybe you want to make adjustments, make tweaks, shift in some ways, but you're not going to achieve this exponential growth just by completely changing every single thing about you, right? Like, that's not necessarily what you have to do for that next level. There's minor adjustments, there's tweaks. That's how you achieve those next results, and you know what I mean, those results that you're asking for. These, you know, I've had situations where I literally have destroyed myself physically trying to achieve this exponential growth in this very short period of time. But exponential results take time. Okay, they take 1% changes every single day. They don't take 100% changes from one day to the next. That's room for failure. That's room for a crash, a mental crash, a physical crash, right? You know, I've seen this. The turtle always beats the hare because he's consistently going at a pace that's not redlining him, right? The hare, you know. So that is something that's super important. We want to make sure we stay consistent. It's always going to be consistency over everything. And disruption, if a competitor comes into your environment and that creates a disruption for you in a way that makes you change every single thing that you do, that is huge. That means that person has that much power over everything you're thinking about and is making you change everything about your ideas, thoughts, and opinions. Some change is good and some change is absolutely necessary, but to completely shift every single thing you do is an interesting idea, you know, and I'd love to debate somebody about that, because that's definitely something that I'm not scared to talk about. I've seen it from many different ideas and many different coaches, right? So it is what it is. I'm excited about bringing this to light for competitive goalkeepers. And let me just tell you how competitive goalkeepers who are not afraid of this, how they act. They see a goalkeeper, oh, that person has good hands, you know, handling is great, their quality with their feet, they move around the goal well, they shot stop well, very good, oh, nice. You know what? I want to bring them into my environment. I want to work with them. I want to, you know what I mean? Like, if they're gonna push me, they feel like they're getting pushed by a person like that, right? So, you know, that's when you have a real competitor on their hands, because they just know that even if they're better than them in that moment, that it's only a matter of time before they are able to understand and able to self-develop, you know, over a period of time. It's just a matter of time. That's how they feel. It's not about them. It's about me and the time that it's going to take me to get me to a place that makes me better, self-developed, and be able to mentally handle the stress that comes with competition. Competition always will shine light to your complacency. Okay, if you're feeling like you're calm, you're comfortable, like, you want to have a level of calm and comfortability, but you also always, if you don't have competition or not, want to have a level of urgency, and some paranoia in the moments, because not paranoia in a very, I'm paranoid. No, in a way that's like, hey, well, how does somebody beat me, right? How can somebody outdo my performances? How you know what I mean? Have that understanding, because when you're having that understanding of yourself, you're able to work on weaknesses and analyze weaknesses that you never thought possible. Very important to understand yourself and the urgency of the situation, because whether you like it or not, there are young people out there who are, you know, their ability to get their family out of poverty in some cases is all based on their trajectory to make it in the game of soccer. And that is a huge burden on their mental state, and that is a huge urgency in their day-to-day life. And they are the ones who are playing at very high levels because they have this feeling, this a big feeling of urgency to outcompete, to outmaneuver, to perform well. It's just not just competition. It's their lifestyle. It's their entire existence. So when you put a person like that up against a person who doesn't have that kind of urgency, you do the math, okay? But I've already painted that picture for you. I'm pretty sure you understand what that's like, you know. And life is a competition in some ways because, you know, there's whatever you do, there's a bunch of other great people out there, but you have to stand out. You have to stand out. You have to become what you're trying to, you know, project. And you know what? There is a standard, and that standard's constantly lifted little by little every year, every month. And the game's constantly evolving. So you have to stay on course with the standard, and then also stay on course with yourself. Make sure you're mentally okay. And that's part of the balancing act that goalkeepers have to deal with when it comes to competition. You know, I've also heard some things that can make your competition level feel inadequate at times. Like there's coaches who make interesting claims. Oh, this person's going to start. This person's not going to start. This person's going to do this based on, I think, a false analysis, a competitively false analysis. There's a lot of, you know, there's not a lot of goalkeeper people out there who are experts that are making these claims, right? That are necessarily the correct claims. So if you hear something like that, you're definitely feeling a little bit, taken back. And, you know, if you're not a person that's going to be playing and things like this, because words are said, people they hear things. So you want to definitely feel, how do you maintain your competitive nature in an environment where there's some political leanings, right? You know, cream will always rise to the top. Always. Like I said, tough people were built to last. So if you're ever in an environment where there is a leaning or some claim that's being made, you know, what you don't want to do is you do not want to stop training. You do not want to stop doing what has made you good and what's maintained your ability. You don't, because then everybody who makes claims, they are justified in the claims that they make, right? If somebody is making claims, that's only a claim. Everybody has their own claims about things. Everybody feels their own way about things. So, you know, number one, check the source of who's making claims, okay, in moments like that, right? And number two, don't stop training. I seen that. Oh, here's this, but boom, I stopped training. You know, I'm just not good enough. This, that, the other. These words were said, so you know, I'm gonna stop. Don't stop training. That's even happened to me as a youngster. You know, claims were made. I stopped for a little bit. Oh goodness, that was probably the worst thing I could have done. But there was nobody to give me some good advice. Don't stop training. Keep on training. We need a lot more goalkeepers to train. We need to elevate the level of competition in Southern California, because we need to become one of the best environments in goalkeeping in the United States. I welcome it. I'm trying to cultivate it. From here, I go to my practices, right? So we need to elevate that level of competition. Bring it, all of it. You know, so do not shy from it. There's a difference between disruption and competition, however. Mouths can disrupt, right? Competition is a better product, better quality. There's a difference. So don't be a disruptor. Be a competitor. You do not want to hinder somebody else in a disruptive manner because you feel inadequate. Okay? That's super important as well. For my final thoughts on competition and goalkeeping, you know, stay true to yourself. Stay true to your process. Ask questions. Okay? Analyze the reality of the situation. Be real about the situation. Having, you know, having your head in the sand and living in the past won't help you. Live in the moment. Live in the reality. Live in the present moment. Be excited about your future. What sometimes is now won't necessarily will be what the future is. Okay? A lot of times. Stay true to your goals, your routine. Stay true to the people who support you. Stay true to yourself, more importantly than anything. Okay? Just know that competition is absolutely vital. Competition will highlight your weaknesses. Competition in a fair environment will make sure that you are a better person once it's all said and done. Don't be afraid of it. Welcome it. Welcome the growth that comes from it. And stand with yourself and stand with the people who support you in a strong way and overcome. With that being said, Coach Gabe, I'm out.